Hello and welcome back to HITC Sevens. Over the last 12 months, I've done videos on the best footballer at every age right now, the best footballer at every age of all time, and the best goalkeepers at every age. Recently, someone suggested a fourth, which was the fastest footballer at every age. Now, obviously, footballers tend to be at their quickest when they're around 18 to 30, with some losing their pace much earlier than 30, depending on their fortune with injuries. With that in mind, I thought it would make for a pretty interesting video, particularly trying to pick the fastest 38, 39 and 40-year-old players. To be clear, they need to be professional footballers, so I won't be picking Trevor, the 38-year-old plumber, who you play with in Sunday League football, who used to be Essex 100-metre champion, and I won't be picking Usain Bolt at age 33. I'm looking for not just professional footballers, but players with some pedigree. They don't have to be Ballon d'Or winners, but they ought to play, or at least have played, at a decent level. Here are my views on the fastest footballer at every age from 16 to 40. 16. Mohammed Guindo. As with all of these age videos, I start at 16, but it's worth bearing in mind quite how young that is. There are very few first team 16-year-old footballers at the highest level, and that is why we sadly only have one image in our database of our first inclusion. Mohammed Guindo is yet to make his first team debut for Anderlecht, but I wouldn't expect it to be too far away. The youngster, who is tremendously quick and good on the ball, can play on either flank or as the main striker, and he's highly regarded in Belgium. 17. Jeremy Doku. Slightly bizarrely, our first two inclusions are both contracted to Anderlecht, and we do have some images of Jeremy Doku. That is because the 17-year-old has already made 6 league appearances for the Belgians, in addition to representing Belgium under 15, under 16, under 17 and under 21 level. Doku is similarly versatile like Guindo, and defenders the length and breadth of Belgium will be dreading facing the fleet-footed duo together in a year or two's time. 18. BUKAYO SAKA. There's plenty more choice, as you would expect when it comes to 18-year-olds, than at 17 or 16, and the quickest 18-year-old is likely to be a name many more of you have heard of. Anyone who watched Arsenal's 2-2 draw with Norwich last weekend will have seen BUKAYO SAKA make his 12th appearance of his short gunner's career to date, although the wide man didn't get many opportunities to stretch his legs during a 12-minute cameo. The Ealing-born wide man has real explosive acceleration though, as well as being good on the ball even whilst running at pace, and you can expect to see him feature more frequently during Freddie Ljungberg's interim period in charge. 19. RABBI MATONDO. One of a handful of young British footballers to have tried their hand in the Bundesliga over the last couple of years, RABBI MATONDO was born in Liverpool, he came through the youth ranks at Cardiff and Man City, and he is now a full Welsh international. Matondo left Manchester City to join Schalke for a reported £11 million in January 2019, and the 19-year-old has since made 12 first-team appearances in Germany. The young right-winger has a lightning pace, and he decided to represent Wales at international level in favour of England or DR Congo. 20. Kylian Mbappe. It's a tight call at age 20, where an honourable mention must go to Blackburn Rovers defender Tyler Magloire, who has a faster recorded top speed than Kylian Mbappe. The Championship centre-back recovered from a cruciate ligament injury to his knee with seemingly no impact on his lightning pace, but I still have to go with Mbappe. There's very little between the duo's top speed, but Mbappe's acceleration is unlike anything I've ever seen on a football pitch before. The Frenchman is just frightening in full flow, a little reminiscent but I suspect even quicker than a young Ronaldo, and for my money, he's the fastest footballer in the world right now. 21. OSAYI-SAMUEL. There are two talented young wide men at Queen's Park Rangers right now, and whilst Eberechi Eze is undoubtedly the most talented, OSAYI-SAMUEL may be the winner when it comes to a foot race. Signed from Blackpool in 2017, 21-year-old OSAYI-SAMUEL is a right footer but can operate on either flank. Born in Nigeria, his family moved to London when he was just 10, and the youngster has real searing pace. 22. OUSMANE DEMBELE. You will notice that the vast majority of this list are wide players, which I shouldn't think comes as any great surprise, and there's no exception at the age of 22. OUSMANE DEMBELE is my choice as the world's fastest 22-year-old footballer, despite a number of injury setbacks. Dembele became one of the most expensive footballers of all time when he joined Barcelona off the back of a superb season at Borussia Dortmund, and among his many talents, the Frenchman is among the quickest footballers on earth. 23. ADAMA TRAORE. Adama Traore is a player who seems to have been on everyone's radar for a long time now, but the Spaniard is still only 23. A sensational dribbler of the ball with fantastic raw pace, Raw has really summed up Traore's career to date. He is flattered to deceive, beating players at will, but often lacking that final ball. He's threatened to become more of a complete player under Nuno Espirito Santo this season, impressing as a wing-back at times, scoring a brace against Manchester City and a goal against Braga. Whether he can kick on and become a real top player or not won't really affect his key attribute here, which is pace, and Traore is my choice as the world's fastest 23-year-old. 24. Hector Bellerin. I suspect this is one which will attract a little bit of debate in the comments, but it ought not to. Hector Bellerin is routinely among the fastest sprinters in the Premier League in terms of top speed, but in truth, those statistics are a little misleading since they tend to favour players who have the opportunity to build up speed rather than the short, sharp bursts footballers typically tend to rely on. It is those short sprints where Bellerin excels, capable of running 40 metres in just 4.41 seconds. 25. ABDULAZIZ AL-BISHI. We go from a handful of pretty high profile players to one who is much less well known for age 25, but rest assured that he is just as quick. ABDULAZIZ Al-Bishi is a Saudi Arabian international with 14 caps to his name to date, and he plays his club football for Saudi outfit Al-Ittihad. A left winger with lightning pace, Al-Bishi is among the fastest footballers on earth, and his game is incredibly reliant on raw speed. 26. Craig Martin. I suspect Craig Martin will be one of the least well-known players in this video, but the South African narrowly sees off DeAndre Yedlin as my choice for age 26. A Cape Town local, Martin had never played professional football before being plucked into the Cape Town City first team by Benny McCarthy. McCarthy has made a habit of giving unknown players a chance, and Martin, who arrived as a wing-back but has recently been playing as a striker, has been described by some as the fastest footballer in the world. 27. Joshua King. Aged 27 was among the most competitive in this video, with Liverpool star Sadio Mane and Nigeria favourite Ahmed Musa offering strong competition. In a straight line though, neither could keep chase with Joshua King. When I first saw the Manchester United trainee on loan at Hull City, he looked like an Olympic sprinter playing football for the first time. He'd receive the ball, give it a great boot downfield, and try to get on the end of it before anyone else. To his credit, and despite the lack of guile, it did work every now and then, but it's a huge acknowledgement of his work rate that he is much more than just a sprinter now under Eddie Howe. 28. Amjad Khalaf. We return to the Middle East at age 28, where Iraqi international Amjad Khalaf has to take the crown. Back in 2005, Khalaf became the youngest player in the history of the Iraqi Premier League at the age of 13. He went on to become a legend at Al Shorta, but he now plays for fellow Iraqis Al Talaba. Capped 28 times by Iraq, Khalaf's father was a competitive sprinter, and his son has been nicknamed a gazelle on the wing. 29. Kyle Walker. At 29, one might think we were winding down a little in terms of raw pace, but the evidence suggests otherwise. Manchester City fullback Kyle Walker is still as lightning as ever, and he has to overcome strong challenges from Juventus winger Douglas Costa and Nashville wide man David Akam to take this one. Walker has always been a terrific athlete, boasting immediate acceleration, real strength, and a rapid top speed. 30. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has long been one of the fastest sprinters in football, and that hasn't changed at the age of 30. The Gabonese international developed a reputation earlier in his career purely for speed, and he failed to break through at AC Milan, but proved his class with St Etienne and Borussia Dortmund. He is now Arsenal's captain and star man, where he remains one of the fastest footballers on the planet, and he's bagged 12 goals in 17 games so far this season, despite the Gunners' slow start. 31. Juan Cuadrado. Colombian international Juan Cuadrado has proved his versatility in recent years, playing everywhere from a front three as a winger to a back three as a fullback. Both in attack and in defence, one of Cuadrado's most potent weapons and key attributes remains his speed off the mark. The Juventus star shows no signs of slowing down just yet, age 31, and he's still among the quickest players in Serie A. 32. Gervinho. There are very few Serie A players who could outrun Juan Cuadrado, but I suspect Gervinho is one of them. The Ivorian international is a year older than the Colombian, but he is still sensationally fast. Both out of the blocks and in terms of his top speed, there are still few fullbacks on the planet who could keep up with the former Arsenal man in full flow. Following 2 years in the Chinese Super League, Gervinho returned to Italy with Parma in 2018. 33. THUSO PHALA. No nation is better represented in this video than South Africa, and I think THUSO PHALA must be the fastest 33-year-old footballer on earth right now. Capped 20 times by Bafana, Phala is best known for his stints with Platinum Stars and Supersport United, and he's still playing top-flight football right now with Black Leopards. The right-sided midfielder may be 33 now, but over 50 metres, he'd still keep up with anyone in this video. 34. Seipa Masilela. We stay in South Africa for age 34, where there's a slight drop off it must be said, although we're still talking about a footballer who could complete a 100 metre dash quicker than I can get up off a sofa at the age of 23. Seipa Masilela, who won 51 caps for Bafana between 2006 and 2013, was one of the quickest players on earth in his prime. He's had a fair few injuries in recent times, but he still takes the crown as the world's fastest 34-year-old. 35. MUTIU ADEGOKE. We're approaching the latter stages of this video, which means slightly less rapid players and some slightly more obscure inclusions. We don't have many images of MUTIU ADEGOKE, who is my shout as the fastest 35-year-old in football. A defender who has played football in Nigeria, Ivory Coast and Congo, ADEGOKE is 35 now, but he could still probably outpace the likes of Gareth Bale and Neymar. 36. Milan PETRŽELA. Following the rare inclusion of a non-winger at age 35, normal service is resumed at 36. Former Czech Republic international Milan PETRŽELA won 19 caps for his country, who will play England at Euro 2020, but PETRŽELA hasn't been capped since 2016. At club level, PETRŽELA had a brief stint with Augsburg in the Bundesliga, but has predominantly played for Viktoria Plzeň. He still competes in the Czech First League now, with FC Slovácko, and he has tremendous pace for a 36-year-old. 37. Manuel CORRALES. You will be shocked to hear that Rangers goalkeeper Alan McGregor isn't the fastest 37-year-old in football, since I suspect Manuel CORRALES might just pip him in a 10, 50 or 100 metre dash. CORRALES, who had a brief stint in Europe with Metz, is a really pacey Peruvian left-back. He only ever won one cap for Peru, but he does at least now have the claim to fame of being football's fastest 37-year-old. 38. JOAQUIN. There is obviously a drop-off in pace as we approach the age of 40, with most players having retired by 38, never mind still being able to burst past opponents. Bizarrely though, 38 presented arguably the toughest selection in this video between Spanish wide man JOAQUIN and former Argentina star Clement Rodriguez. I'd like to see the two in a foot race, but JOAQUIN is still one of Real Betis' best players, he is their club captain, and he's still seriously quick, and not just for a 38-year-old, so I'll edge towards him. 39. JOEL HERRERA. When it comes to pacey players in their late 30s, Peru comes into an element of their own. Following on from Manuel CORRALES at 37, JOEL HERRERA gets in on the party at 39. The veteran fullback, who has only ever played in countries beginning with a P, namely Poland and Peru, is still going strong at 39. He won 10 caps for Peru between 2007 and 2013, and still plays in Peru's top flight for Real Garcilaso. 40. Lee Dong-gook. East Asia has been surprisingly underrepresented in this video, but at the grand old age of 40, Lee Dong-gook ensures that the region doesn't go entirely without representation. Middlesbrough fans may well recall Lee Dong-gook, who spent 2 seasons with the club in the Premier League, during which time he scored 2 goals in 29 appearances. That was more than a decade ago now, but Dong-gook is remarkably still playing top-flight football for Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors, even as a 40-year-old. In fairness, he's no Kylian Mbappe, but he is twice his age, so give the guy a break. That's it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. Go ahead and give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you really enjoyed it. And with Christmas coming up, if you're a football fan, or you know a football fan, it might be worth checking out www.englandsgreatestdefender.com for the ideal Christmas present.